Good morning. It is Wednesday, May 11th, 2022, and here I am on a Wednesday morning instead of a Monday at 12:30. Of course, we had internet problems on Monday. I'm Linda Daniels, and this is your wake-up call today here at Northampton Wools. We got that problem fixed. Fortunately, Comcast was able to come in right away on Monday afternoon, and it ended up being a modem issue, and I hope this modem is working. There are some blinking lights, and I will find out about that later on this afternoon when I have some time. So we are constantly having internet issues or streaming issues. So let me know if you're here. I am alone right now, but Kate will be showing up any minute, I'm sure, as we get closer to 10. I'm not going to answer the phone because we're technically not open, and I want to be able to concentrate on talking with all of you people. So I appreciate your being here. I appreciate your saying hi or letting me know that you guys were able to tune in and to see me, because I don't see anybody yet, and I do have to lean forward a little bit. Hey, Dale. All right, Eileen. Oh, crap. Okay. So I don't know how to fix that myself, because it did say multi-streaming was on. So that will be another issue. Share more, select a link, YouTube. Let's see. I don't know if that worked, but being here alone, I can't figure it all out all the time or do it always. So we'll find that. We'll fix that later on, because hopefully I will be able to share it. YouTube doesn't work. All right. I just showed up on YouTube. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you very much. All right, good. Then I don't have to worry about that. Hi, Lana. Hi, Sally and Brianna. Glad that all of you guys are able to watch this right now. Okay, so here we are, ready to start a really beautiful week, it looks like, weather-wise, finally. It's been so cold that I haven't been able to put, or haven't wanted to put, my winter sweaters away at home because I've still been wearing them. But this week looks like it's going to be a beautiful week, and we probably won't need them from now on, which means that they should be put away or stored or do whatever you do to them, wherever they go throughout the summer months. And that means that they need to be cleaned. If you don't wash your sweaters at all during the winter, and you really don't need to unless you fall into a mud puddle, you need to wash them before you put them away. It is the most important thing and the biggest moth preventer. You need to put your stuff away clean. Moths are attracted to even the smallest amount of spit or spittle or food dropping or oil from your hands, and that often causes a big problem because once you get a moth in there, they spread like mad. So what I usually do is hand wash all of my sweaters and then store them in plastic garbage bags, even though you're often told not to put them in plastic. And I put them up in the attic just to have some room. But washing them is a big deal, especially because you're supposed to lay them flat to dry. And a lot of us don't have that kind of room, which is why I love a week like this, because I do lay them flat to dry outside. I will spread a sheet after I've washed them, spread a sheet out on the ground, lay the sweaters on top of the sheet, lay a sheet on top of the sweaters to protect from bird droppings or little animals. And with the kind of heat and humidity we're going to have this week, they will dry relatively quickly, especially if you can machine wash them. If you can control your machine. So top loaders work best for that. If you can fill the machine with water and put the soap in it, and I'm going to talk about the soap in a second, Put the sweaters in and let them soak for a good half an hour. And then if you can then set your machine to spin, just spin the water out. You don't have to agitate. You don't have to actually go through a wash cycle. If you can do that, then you can wash more than one sweater at a time. I usually will put in, my machine will fit 3 or 4 sweaters as long as they're about the same color. And I do often use either a pillowcase or a garment bag to protect the sweaters from rubbing against each other. Then that's the best way and quickest way to do it. It also depends on how many sweaters you have. Imagine I have quite a few. But that also removes, the spinning removes a lot of the excess water, and things will then dry very quickly. If you have to hand wash, then after you've drained the water out and squeezed out by hand as much as you can, if you wrap them in a towel, and I've told you this before, wrap them in a towel and walk on them, that will get out a lot of the water too. Don't lay them flat in direct sunlight. A lot of the dyes can be, especially hand-dyed items, can be very sensitive to sunlight, and you'll end up with a kind of bleaching out effect. And that's also why I put a sheet on top of my sweaters when they're outside to dry, so that the sun doesn't bleach any of them out. Hey, Marie, nice to have you with us. So washing is the most important thing. Once they're dry, you can then fold them up, store them in whatever you do, whether it's plastic bins, plastic bags, or you have a drawer. But what we use here, or what I use at home, is the Eukalon. You guys, many of you know this product already. It comes in both the large 16-ounce bottles, and all you really need is a capful. I think just a little capful in the water, and you don't rinse it out. And a lot of people are kind of freaked by that, but thinking, oh, well, the sweater is just sitting in dirty water. The answer to that is yes and no. Once you've used this and you let the sweater soak, the dirt is lifted out. And the lanolin that's in this product is absorbed by the wool. And the lanolin is what helps keep wool soft, fluffy, and alive. You know, have you ever had a really, really old sweater, or maybe come across one, and it just feels really dried out and almost brittle? That's because lanolin dissipates after a while, after a long time. And this helps put the lanolin back in it. Now, there are several scents that this comes in. We have a lot of grapefruit left, and there are smaller bottles as well. This is a 3.3 ounce size. This is only $5, and it's enough to do, I would go out there and say most people would be able to do their entire sweater supply with this size bottle. This is an unscented, and I really like that, especially as you get older. I'm finding more of a sensitivity to perfumey kind of smells, so you can use an unscented. And then it also comes in eucalyptus and a lavender. Actually, this is the unscented one. This was the eucalyptus. So none of them are terribly strong scents, but they do add a little bit of a scent to it, which also, it's not going to stop moths, but it does help send moths on their way. They don't like strong smells, which is also why I will put a bar of soap, any kind of smelly soap, in the bags with my sweaters. Again, it doesn't kill them and it doesn't prevent them, but they don't really like it. So we've got a lot of that. If you are going to be starting to put your woolens away for the summer, then you will want to have some of that. Don't use Woolite. Woolite is too harsh of a detergent. Again, for a lot of the hand dyes, it's just going to strip a lot of that color out. Woolite is great for lingerie and for delicate things, maybe that have silk or rayon in them, but not necessarily that good of a thing for wool. So that's what I'm going to be doing, trying to squeeze in every day a couple of sweaters in the morning in the wash, put them outside to dry, and then by the time I get home from work, they'll be all set to be put away. As much as I love them all, I am glad to not have to put them on, give them all kind of a little bit of a rest. And I hope you guys will do that too. So today later on today, you will be getting a newsletter that will have our monthly free patterns in them. And I wanted to show you what I am sending you. I've done a lot of knit patterns, and this month I did a crochet. I also did a knit pattern, but I did a crochet pattern, and it's hanging right here behind me. This is a basic ripple stitch, and it is a scarf. I did it a couple of times because I needed to test the numbers in the pattern. So this is what the scarf looks like and what the ripple stitch looks like. If you are a crocheter, it's really a very easy stitch pattern and one of the basics, because it's basically a skip, a decrease, which in crochet can be as easy as skipping 2 stitches, and an increase, which in crochet just means that you put more than 1 stitch in the same stitch. This is the increase that makes the point, and this is the decrease that makes the ditch. It's a double crochet pattern, and the hardest thing about doing a ripple stitch is that you have to count. So you count the number of stitches between the increase and the decrease, and then you count the number of stitches between that decrease and the next increase. So it is a pattern that you end up having to count a lot. But if you like it and are interested in it, Dahlia is going to be teaching a basic crochet class this Saturday. So if you're interested in learning a basic stitch in crochet, then you can sign up on the website or come on in or give us a call and register for that class. But I wrote the scarf pattern and I wrote it lengthwise. So you make a chain that's really, really long, and then you just do the number of rows until it's as wide as you want it to be. Now I used leftover yarns, although I did have almost full skeins for both of these. I'm always so happy to use up little bags of stuff that I've got laying around, because I tend to put them together, or I'll need a little bit of another skein and then it is gone. Yes, Eileen, I'm getting to that. And so I'm really happy when it comes out. It's not balanced. It wasn't planned. I was just, okay, I'll throw this color in there. But when I'm done, it all came out pretty good. It looks really, really neat. So you're going to be getting the pattern for that. And included in that is I made it into a baby blanket pattern as well, with the same stitch pattern but a different number of stitches. And this one I did with a yarn called Baby Soft Chunky, which is a cotton and acrylic blend, and just used 4 skeins of this yarn and just went until it was done. So it is this yarn, Baby Soft Cotton Chunky, which comes in these multicolors, and it also comes in many solid colors. There we go. And we have a lot of that in, and it is a 55 acrylic and 45 cotton blend. So it is machine washable and dryable and very soft. And if you have any baby that you think might have any kind of wool sensitivity, instead of the Encore, which has a tiny bit of wool in it, this is a great alternative. Comes in some wonderful colors. And I haven't washed or blocked this yet at all either, which it doesn't really need to be blocked, but it does end up being just the right size for a newborn baby or a great shower gift. And there's no finishing. You just start and end. You don't have to put any edge around it. You don't have to do anything to make it complete. It's just start and stop, weave in the ends when you're done, and you are finished with that. So I wanted to include crocheters because we haven't for a while, but of course I can't leave the knitters out because many of you don't crochet. So I took the same premise, a ripple stitch. I found a bag of bulky weight odds and ends that I had, and I started a knit pattern as well. So you will also get the knit pattern. And like Eileen said, this is a great way to use up leftover yarn. You can mix and match. You can do smaller stripes than this, but I like to look at the skeins that I have and how big they look, and just start that color and go until I've used it all up. And that's what I did here. I just started going through each of the balls and did as wide a stripe as there was that yarn. So it looks pretty good, but it is not. The stripes are not the same number of rows. I did not count rows. I didn't plan to try to make them all equal. I just went until I was nearly out of, or all really out of yarn. This purple, I used a double strand, and that's how much I had. I made it to the end. I had to play a little yarn chicken there, and I won, thankfully. But it also is a very easy pattern. You will get it in today's email. It's a center double decrease right here. And then it is the increases right here are make one, knit one, make one. Make one, knit one, make one. And it doesn't matter whether you make one left or right. Ugh, I'm sorry, people. So you make one, it doesn't matter, make one left or right, knit one, make one left or right. I usually do a make one left because that's the easier one. You just lift it and knit into the back of it. And boom, I am well on my way to creating another, this will probably be more of a lap blanket than a baby blanket, just because not all of the yarns that I've used are washable on this one. But what a great little project. I don't know if you can see that in my lap. It's just enough to cover lap and nice and warm. It is, I did use a thicker yarn, and I'm on a size 10.5 needle with it. So that's a really quick, fun project. It's a fun thing too, because this is the kind of pattern that you can easily pick up and put down. You don't have to know exactly what row you're on, because it's only 2 rows. On the back row, you're just purling, and on the front row, you are simply doing that knit 7 decrease, knit 7 increase. So it's just the same thing over and over and over again. So it's really pretty fun and makes a really striking design, especially in multicolors. I don't know why it shows up so beautifully in the different colors versus doing it all in a solid color, but you will often see chevron stripes or chevron patterns in different colors, just because it really shows the pattern up more and more and more. So that's what you're going to be getting later on today. The newsletter is almost ready to go out. I just need to do a couple more things to it, and then we'll be able to send it out today. I quickly wanted to show you just a couple of things that I got finished today. This is the Wink at Me top that I made for a customer, and I finished that this morning in the green, and I love how it came out in the green. Really, really pretty, fun summer color. You've got the pattern for that. It's a free pattern on our website. If you don't get these in your email, or you don't get the email, look at the website. We have a section of where we are putting the free patterns that we send out in the email. Sometimes it's easier to print the pattern out as a download than it is to print the pattern from the email. So we are putting them all up. These ripple stitches are not up yet. That's the other thing that Kate will do when she comes in today. I also wanted to show off Decker's shawl. I don't know if she's here this morning because she doesn't always look at everything, but Decker finished one of the shawls that I did a while ago, and I blocked it for her, so I wanted to show off her work there. She'll be happy to have this. And this is one of our one skein shawls that I showed you a while ago, but she's got that all done. And then Bonnie is back, and I know that a lot of you saw these socks because Bonnie posted them on the group, Hey Gia, hi. But she brought them in, and I was just like, only Bonnie. Those little white dots are beads. Only our beading Bonnie would put beads in socks, and they turn out beautifully. So Bonnie is very generously letting us show these off in the store. If you want to take a look, it's the Lily of the Valley pattern. She did post in the group exactly what the pattern was and where you could get it. She used the Plymouth Sulcata yarn. And we've got, I think, 6 colors of this in. And we just got word that 2 of the back ordered colors, so we'll have 2 more new colors coming in probably this week sometime. And Bonnie loved this yarn. And wants to make a sweater out of it. And it's one of those yarns, it's a sock yarn. It doesn't look so exciting in the skein because it is also a marled yarn, which, by the way, marling is extremely popular right now. But to knit with it, she really loved it. And you know, our Bonnie has knit with everything, loves Miss Babs, loves a lot of lace weight yarns. She knows her yarn. So for Bonnie to recommend a yarn, you know it's coming from a good place. So take a look at this yarn the next time that you're in the shop. We do have both of them. She did make a pair. She didn't have second sock syndrome. She did finish them. And take a look at Bonnie's beading skills, which are well beyond the normal person's. All right, one more thing to show you that I did finish, and then I'm going to talk about mistakes. I finally got to the point where I finished the body of my sea glass sweater. So now I'm going to be working on the sleeves. And a lot of the people that took the class turned it or decided to do short or 3/4 length sleeves, which is great and fine. I think I will probably go for a long sleeve. And I'm going to send an email out to the people that were in the class because we'd love to put the finished ones up in the window. Lucille Miller brought her sweater in. Molly, I'd love to have yours. Kate is going to bring her sweater in. And Holly, if you are around and want to have your sweater in this window, we'd love to have that as well. So this is like I said, the sea glass pattern. We did it as a class. We'll probably do it again this summer. And the fun thing about this sweater is that it is, every row is 1 stitch of color A and 1 stitch of color B, and every row changes. A and B change, until I got down to the bottom, and then I was like, I can't take it anymore. And I did a lot of rows just switching back and forth between light and dark, light and dark, light and dark. So that's the other thing that was on the list. And I want to talk about a couple of other things. This weekend, there are a lot of things going on all the way around, but I wanted to mention one that would be really fun if you are looking for something to do with kids. The Deerfield Sheep in the Street days is going on, and it's kind of hard to find out exactly the schedule, but it is going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Saturday, they are setting up with a small number of vendors selling their product there. And Adrienne is going to be up there selling her hand-dyed yarn under the Northampton Wools Twisted Misfit Fibers sign. So she'll have a booth up there. There'll be lots of sheep shearing, weaving, knitting, sheepdog trials, all kinds of stuff going on in the old historic Deerfield. So if you get a chance and you're looking for something to do, make your way up there. It'll be a fun time. And I wanted to mention that this is Adrienne's first time out on her own, and hopefully she'll get some support. Her yarn is beautiful. She's doing an incredible job. I think I can grab it. She's really working hard on getting lots of colors and different weights. So she's got fingering weight, DK weight, and a little bit of bulky weight. So she'll be up there selling that stuff as well. So one of the things that happened to me last week, is our freezer died. Now, it was an expected death because that freezer belonged to my sister, and she gave it to my parents when she moved to Florida. And when we purchased the house from my parents, the freezer was our inheritance, if you will. So that thing has to be close to 40 years old. It doesn't owe us a thing. But it finally said, that's it, I'm not freezing anymore, and conked out. Yeah, we lost a lot of food. Nothing you can do about it. It's just done and over with. Hey, Willa. But we will get a new freezer, and I doubt that the next one will last 40 years. They just don't make things like that anymore. God, that's so cliche. But it will not last. We know that. And at first we were thinking about, well, how are we going to get the freezer out of the cellar, the old one out of the cellar? And Adrian said, no, Mom, you don't have to. When you buy something from like Lowe's or somewhere, they'll remove the old freezer. So we're working on, putting away money, saving up, figuring out which kind of freezer we do want to get. But yesterday, I was listening to one of the other podcasters that I listen to, and she was talking about storage and how she stores her yarn in clear plastic bins so that she can see it. And I'm like, yeah, that's always the problem. I often have to pull out bin after bin after bin, open it up, try to remember what's in it, where did I put this, where did I put that, because I do have a stash of yarn at home as well. When all of a sudden, a little light bulb went off over my head, and I thought, wait, what if we don't get rid of that old freezer? What if I use it as yarn storage? Shelves, closed door, no moths can get in. I think it's a brilliant idea. What do you think? Let me know. Should I or shouldn't I keep the old freezer, fill it up with yarn so that I can see it every time I open the door, find what I need? Of course, I have more than will fit in there, but I can put the really special stuff in there and just work my way through the shelves. Sound like a good idea? I want to know what you think, because I haven't told the big D what I am thinking about doing, because I know he won't go for it, but I'll have to find a way to make it appealing to him. Oh, but that was the big crisis in our house this past week. Speaking about crazy, there were a number of mistakes that I saw last week, and surprisingly, 2 of them were the exact same thing. Now, you can't make a mistake that I haven't done. I have been knitting way too many years to not have struggled through, especially at the beginning. Exactly, Maureen. But I have been knitting way too many years not to have stumbled through some of the most common mistakes. And there are mistakes that we all live with. A dropped stitch that you don't see until it's nearly done. You latch it up, you pull it to the inside and tuck it in. Nobody really knows that it's there except for you. Things like a knit stitch that was supposed to be knit and is a purl, those are fairly easy mistakes to either fix or to live with. But some mistakes you cannot deal with. We use the 3-needle bind off on the shoulder straps a lot, and twice last week people brought in a sweater that they had joined and they had twisted one of the shoulder straps. You can't live with that. You have to rip that 3-needle bind off out, straighten out the pieces, and reknit them together. It's not a mistake because you don't know what you're doing. It's a mistake because you were rushing, you weren't paying close attention, you didn't quite think you thought everything was in the right place, and it wasn't. I've done it. I've even knit together the 2 shoulders on the front so that I don't have any neck. I've done it all. So those are the kinds of mistakes that you have to deal with. You cannot wear a sweater with a twisted shoulder. I've untwisted cables that were twisted the wrong way just by latching just those stitches down and reworking them up. There are tons of different ways to fix mistakes besides ripping out. Sometimes you have to rip. There's just no other way to fix it. Sometimes you are forced into making a much more drastic decision. And I'm here to help you with that. I'm going to show you a sweater that one of our knitters brought in, and it's the Ranunculus, my very favorite sweater of all times. And the knitter had done a beautiful job of following the directions down to the underarm and separated for the sleeve, and then continued to work the pattern. But she started knitting backwards or inside out so that the entire body, all of this part, was reverse stockinette stitch. It was purl side out. And she was already finished with it. She had already knit all the way down to the bottom and bound off the stitches. Now, she could have lived with it, but it looked a little funny. Most average people probably wouldn't really know that it was a mistake. Some people might have looked at it and said to her, "You got your sweater on inside out." But the top was perfect. The top was what it should be. And there was no way that you could wear the inside part of the sweater as the outside. You couldn't reverse the sweater. So what I did was tell Barb that I could cut it, and I cut one strand of yarn, and I picked out all the way around the sweater. And then I turned the bottom inside out, or right side out, if you will, so the knit side was out. And I have started to Kitchener the whole thing back together again. And I left this much to do, and I will finish that up today, but that will join to that, and then her sweater will be perfect again. Now, not everything is this drastic of a fix, and a lot of times that's a fix you won't necessarily be able to do yourself, but it is something that I can help you with if you're ever in that kind of a situation. So even the worst mistakes can be somehow resolved and not necessarily ripped. This is the cotton that we don't have any more of, but it's got a fuzziness to it, and it is torture to rip this stuff out. I even had a hard time just pulling out one stitch at a time. It's very, very sticky. She never would have been able to pull the body of this out and then redid it again. It just would have been so incredibly frustrating. So we were able to save that. So I am going to be, this week, I'm going to be sending out a schedule, and I'm going to do a fixing mistakes class on Saturday, June 4th. So I'm giving you a little bit of a heads up and plenty of notice. I think if you are at all interested in talking about how to fix some of the more common mistakes, if you've got a problem that you have just tossed into the corner and said, "I'm done," bring it, and we'll see what we can do as far as offering different things. Good morning. So hold on one second, because I'm on live. I just also quickly want to say, and then I gotta go, we are looking for teachers. So if you are at all interested in teaching a Learn to Knit, in teaching a basic hat class, we're looking for workshop kind of teachers to do just a couple of hours, a couple of hour class once in a while. And I'm going to talk about this again next week, but please let me know. We really need some more people in here, because we've got a lot of people asking for classes, and I and Kate can't do it all alone anymore. So think about it. If you know somebody who you think would make a good teacher, let me know and I will contact them. All right, I am going to go because we got to open the door and our rug man is here. So you guys have a great washing week. Hope you get all your sweaters stored and put away, and I will see you Monday at 12:30 live with lunch with Linda. Bye.